Am I the asshole for walking out of my boyfriend's celebratory dinner? So my boyfriend, Kyle, 26M, recently got a promotion to general manager at the restaurant he works at. I, 22F, work full-time as a pediatric nurse and my hours are kinda all over the place right now because of the virus. Anyway, when he got home to tell me about his promotion I was ecstatic. He's a hard worker and deserves it, 100%. But because it happened on a Tuesday, we decided we'll go for a celebratory dinner with our mutual friends Saturday night. I was scheduled to work Saturday, but I figured that as long as I was able to get home, shower, and change all as well. I'll just sleep late on Sunday. So fast forward to Saturday. I unfortunately lost a patient who had been fighting for her life since birth. I've been her nurse every time I was working in that department and her family were very important to me. I was absolutely devastated. When I got home the last thing on my mind was dinner. I told Kyle about what happened and he gave me a hug and said he's sorry to hear that. About 10 minutes later he softly asked if I was going to go shower before we leave. I told him I really don't feel like going out, but he insisted that I go since I promised and if he goes without me his friends will ask a lot of questions. I didn't want to, but I agreed since I did promise. While I tried to keep a smile on my face, it was obvious I was upset. One of our friends asked if I was okay, and before I could just say I had a rough day at work, Kyle said, "She's been bitching about a patient she lost at work today," and scoffed. I was flabbergasted. He's never said anything like that before. I replied saying, "That patient was 3 months old." He shrugged and said that it's not my own child and it shouldn't bother me this much. I was furious and embarrassed since this went down in front of our friends, so I just put down enough money for my meal and went home. I put his stuff in a box. He wasn't living with me but would stay with me 2-3 days a week. When he came back he flipped out and I just said I need space. That was 2 weeks ago. I have since changed the locks since he had a spare key. He says I'm overreacting and that I'm an asshole for ruining his big night. That I, selfishly, made it all about me. He accused me of thinking higher of myself because I'm a nurse and he works at a restaurant, honestly IDK where that came from. And he also said that he figured since it was a celebratory dinner for him, he thought I was going to pay and so walking out on him was very embarrassing cause he didn't bring his wallet. One of our mutual friends, Amy, called me and said that while what Kyle said was fucked up that me leaving like that was unnecessary and it made the whole night awkward. I feel bad for ruining the night for everyone else but I just couldn't let him get away with that. I'm very proud to be a nurse and I don't want anyone, especially my partner, to talk poorly about it. So do you guys think I'm the asshole for walking out on dinner? Edit. Wow, thank you guys so much for all the kind comments. I've just now been able to read through most of the newer comments and I've got tears in my eyes, smiling face with tear. I've lost a handful of patients since I became a nurse, and one whilst in nursing school, and while it definitely hurt me, I've never been this impacted by it. It still hurts to think about and I'm sure it will for a long time. But hearing your guys' opinions and seeing your support honestly means the world. I wasn't sure if I was overreacting by packing his stuff out since this was the first big issue I've had with him, but seeing your comments I realized that I wasn't. Seeing how all of you, who are internet strangers that have absolutely no reason to leave such sweet, caring comments, have way more compassion and empathy for me, and the baby, than the man who's supposed to be there for me, says quite a lot. So thank you all so much. Edit 2. So I've been seeing some comments about the wallet thing. I honestly have no idea if he actually forgot it or if he just said that to get off the huge check, which my friend said was over $500. I wasn't aware he wasn't paying until after he was gone, so I didn't check the house to see if it was actually there. Edit 3. So it's 10:20 a.m. and I can happily say Kyle is completely out of my life. His friend picked up the last of his stuff about an hour ago. I called Kyle and, officially, even thought it was kinda obvious, broke up with him and his number is blocked. Time for a mimosa, aha. Thank you all for your super sweet messages, smiling face with hearts, smiling face with hearts. This blew up and I'm just overwhelmed by the support y'all have shown me. Not the asshole. Kyle said, "She's been bitching about a patient she lost at work today," and scoffed. #JFC. He's talking like this as, "We overcooked some calamari at work today and had to throw it out." Relationship ending comment. She's been bitching about a patient she lost at work today. Who wants to make a life with someone with no empathy? Good for you for maintaining your personal ethics and boundaries. Not the asshole. Honestly, I am significant other impressed with you. I wish I had these kind of convictions. You are not the asshole and you are a role model to me now because I want to be able to stand up for myself like that rather than somehow take the blame for everything. You go girl. AL significant other. The fact that he hasn't even apologized and is still blaming you shows that the trash took itself out. Wow, you are not the asshole but he sure is. Not the asshole. And #X200B. In spite of not being in a healthy place mentally, you still went and tried to support him. He didn't see it, didn't want to see it, and decided to belittle you about it. What did he expect you to do? Take the belittling with a smile, thank him for it and on top of it pay for his dinner? Sorry, but I see a human here, not a robot. Or would he have preferred you to argue back about his lack of respect and empathy in the middle of the restaurant? And #X200B. Doubly. YTF, was he expecting you to pay for the dinner? Was he expecting you to pay only for his or take on the whole dinner bill, friends included? In which case, da fuck. Still, anyway, you don't go out, regardless of occasion, without your damn wallet. Not the asshole as a critical care nurse. You don't need to be in a relationship with someone who has no empathy. As for the rest, good riddance to Kyle and block anyone who harasses you because of the breakup. Not the asshole. Do you really have any kind of interest in committing to a future with a man who's that blasé about the death of a child or who has such little respect for the work that you do? Lol. This is nowhere near the main point of your story but, didn't bring my wallet. It's crazy how I keep seeing that problem on this sub. Am I the only person on earth who pays with their phone or sends $$ to the person paying? Anyway, not the asshole. He was insensitive so you dumped him. First, who leaves home without their wallet for a celebratory dinner when someone might order wine or drinks? Especially when they are in their 20s and know they will be carded. I'm curious, did your boyfriend drive? Without his license, wallet? Second, suggesting you might be the asshole is like suggesting the baby might have ruined his big night. No, of course you're not. Stuff happens. Grown-ups deal. He's an ass. Dump him. Am I the asshole for not changing my speech? I, 23F, am originally from New York. I have lived in Texas for 7 years now, and am married to my husband, 29M. And we have a 4-month-old girl together. I still have a pretty noticeable accent. Between being from the Northeast and being Italian, you can definitely tell the difference between me and my husband's speech. My husband is saying that I need to learn how to speak correctly for our daughter's sake so she isn't confused. Examples he cited. I say, ant, instead of, ant, sneakers, instead of, tennis shoes, and when I say, car, it sounds like, CAH. He's saying our daughter's speech will be impaired and she'll be confused on what the correct terms are for certain things, and since we live in the South, I need to speak more like him. I said that's not an easy thing to do and it's how I grew up. He said I was being an asshole and that it'll be my fault when our daughter's speech is FCKED. His family agrees with him. So, am I the asshole for not changing the way I talk? ETA. Yes, my husband has a heavy Southern accent. When he's going to do something, he's fixin' to, and he makes interesting word combinations. Our daughter's speech will be impaired. Is my speech impaired? She will be confused. Do you find me confusing? Not the asshole. Your husband is straight up insulting you, op. He's saying that you have a speech impairment and are confused. To your face. Call him on it. Speech-language pathologist here. Your husband is wrong. Kids usually pick up accents from peers, not parents. Although this is totally irrelevant to her language development. Kids are not confused by different accents or dialects in their families. There is no correct term from one region over another. Your daughter will actually likely be better at communicating because she will be used to navigating different ways of expression. Your husband needs to stop being classist and find something else to do. Not the asshole. Your husband is talking rubbish. I have a Russian partner and I am British. She speaks exclusively to the kids in Russian and I speak English. They are perfectly fluent in both languages. So to think your kids will be confused because their parents speak marginally different dialects and accents is abject nonsense. Be proud of your heritage and don't try to hide it. Not the asshole. You should say this line to him. SpongeBob quote. SpongeBob. Patrick, guess what I am? Patrick. Aw, stupid. SpongeBob. No, I am Texan. Patrick. What's the differences? It's called an accent, not a speech impediment. And English is phonetically fucked in any case. Not the asshole. I'm from Texas and I say not the asshole. How is someone with a Texas accent gonna tell anyone else to speak correctly? Your husband must be one of those people who thinks Texas should be its own country. Kids can grow up in bilingual households, and hear two entirely separate words, in different languages, for the same item, and still know what is going on. Your husband and his family are a bunch of doofuses. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Okay. I can understand car, CAH. Maybe ant, but definitely not sneakers, tennis shoes. That one is just idiotic. Some people drink soda, others pop, some cola. It does not matter. You daughter might wonder why some things are pronounced one way. The American language is notorious for different sounds. Tell him if he quits using y'all you will try to change the way you have spoken for 23 years. Am I the asshole for telling my daughter that I will never let her drive me anywhere in her life? We have a tradition in our family that whenever one of our children pass their driving exam, we all go out and eat together at their favorite restaurant to celebrate. I taught all my daughters, 18, 17, and currently my two 15-year-olds, how to drive, but my 16-year-old wouldn't let me. She said that her friend was learning with a driving instructor, and she wanted to do that, too. No problem. I asked her to let me just teach her the basics then, but she said that she wanted to learn at the same pace as her friend. I offered to teach the friend the basics, too, but then my daughter just outright said, "No, Dad. No. I don't want you to teach me. It's not cool. Okay, and I want to learn on my own." I said, "You are learning on your own. I'm just going to teach you the basics and that's it." She said she didn't want to talk about it anymore and the final answer was no. Part of her driving permit requirement was that she drive a certain amount of practice hours, but she was only allowed to drive with a parent or driving instructor in the car. She would never drive with me in the car, so she got all her practice hours with her driving instructor and by driving my wife around. I complained to my wife and asked her what the heck was going on, and she just kept saying that our daughter was trying to be independent and impress me by doing it on her own. Finally, our daughter took her driving license. She passed and we went out to celebrate. She was supposed to drive the entire family to the restaurant, but I refused to get in. I went in one car while she drove her mom and sisters in the other. I usually give the toasts but I refused, saying that maybe the driving instructor should have been here to give it. My wife said, "Oh my gosh, this is so childish. You two need to talk about this right now and clear the air." I said, "I need an explanation for why my own daughter was so against me teaching her to drive, or just even being in the car with her while she was learning." She said, "It wasn't personal. I just wanted to learn how to drive on my own. And with my friend. That's it." Even my other daughter said, "Yeah, but you could have at least let Dad teach you one time." But she said that she was going to at one point. But then she felt pressured by everyone trying to push her into doing it that she just rebelled against the whole idea. I said, "Well, what's done is done and you don't ever have worry about driving me around because I will never in your life let me drive me anywhere. I will never get in a car with you if you're behind the wheel." It got silent and the atmosphere was thick after that. My wife kept frowning at me and then after a while I got up and said, "I'm going to go. I need to go clear my head." Edit. To clarify. The part I'm most upset about is not even that she didn't let me teach her how to drive, but that she didn't even let me ride in the car with her one single time during the time she needed practice hours. I'm a great driving instructor. I taught my 18-year-old and 17-year-old how to drive and they both passed on their first time. I'm teaching my 15-year-old daughters right now. I don't yell and I'm very patient because I know how stressing it can be. And I work with all styles. My 18-year-old was extremely cautious driver, my 17-year-old was a speeder, and with the twins right now one of them is an impatient driver, she cuts people off all the time, and the other is the most patient driver ever, she lets everybody cut her. Also, people are saying I should have just told my daughter how I felt. I did. I couldn't include everything because I didn't go over the limit, but I did go to her and say, "You know, it kind of bothers me that you won't even let me be in the car when you drive." She said she didn't want me there because I might start giving her tips here and there, and she considered that as me teaching her. I promised her I wouldn't, and I don't make promises lightly, but she still said no. This was before I complained to my wife. So I did try to talk to her. Edit. The issue is not that she wouldn't let me teach her how to drive. It was that she didn't even want me in the car one time, even after I tried to reach out to her. If your dad said to you, "Hey, it's kind of bothering me that you don't want me to teach you, but if you want one to learn on your own, that's fine. But can I just ride in the car with you one time to see how you're coming along? I promise I won't say anything during the ride or even ask to ride with you again after that." You wouldn't let him ride with you one time? You are the asshole. She didn't want to learn from you, so you're retaliating against her, which goes a long way to explaining why she didn't want to learn from you. Edit. Holy cats, people. I spent my day offline and came back to a whole lot of upvotes and stuff. Thanks. Considering the way you threw a tantrum about this whole thing and made the whole celebration about you, it's no wonder your daughter didn't want to drive with you. Get over yourself, asshole. You are the asshole. You are the asshole, it's just petty. You're the dad and you're acting like the teen here. I get that your feelings are hurt, but I think you are going about this in such a wrong way. You are the asshole. Geez, after reading this, I wonder why your daughter didn't want your help. You are the asshole. This is exactly what my dad is like. He always wanted things to go his way, and would throw temper tantrums if it didn't. And now that I've moved out for college, I have no contact with him and intend on keeping it that way. Your daughter just did something huge on her own, and instead of celebrating her achievement, you made it all about you. If you don't start acting more considerate towards your daughter and accept that she's gonna be her own person someday, you might end up the way my dad did. You are the asshole. That is super childish. ETA regarding ops eth asshole. Yes, I see how your feelings were hurt. It's how you dealt with it. You are the asshole. I understand your feelings were hurt by her not wanting you to teach her, but you are reacting like a child, not an adult parent. If the two of you are alone at the house and you have a medical situation and need a ride to a hospital, are going to call an Uber? Grow up. Why are you so threatened? Am I the asshole for grounding my daughter for sneaking a boy in? My daughter is 12, and because I'm cautious and I'm aware that she's becoming a young woman, I've had all kinds of talks with her. I came home a few nights ago and I noticed a bike on the side of the house that I didn't recognize. I called for my daughter, nothing. I go upstairs, call for my daughter, and I hear, "Fuck, my dad's home." Door to her room is closed. I knock, door's locked, she opens, this boy comes out. She tells him to just go, and that she'll call him later. I ask her who he is, she tells me he's nobody. I ask again, same answer. I ask why the door was locked. She says she locked it on accident. I told her I heard her say, "Fuck, my dad's home," and what that was about. She claims the closing of the front door by me scared them. I told her I'd had enough of the lying and that she was grounded. Once she heard grounded, she started telling me that even though the door was closed, nothing was happening. She's telling me I'm the most unfair father ever and that I'm not being fair. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. OMG. Fair has nothing to do with it. Her safety has a lot to do with it. She is only 12. If nothing was happening, why was the door closed? No way should she be alone in the house with a boy. Not the asshole. We are all the most unfair father ever. Ensure she knows she's grounded for sneaking around and lying, and ask her to introduce you to her boyfriend. Be nice to him, and reiterate to her any lessons about consent, choice, and safety you feel are warranted. Not the asshole. She's 12. Sneaking boys over with the door locked isn't acceptable. Not the asshole. Rules have been established, I assume. If you don't have the "no boys when you aren't home" rule or the "no locked doors" rule, then do so now. She's a child. Under your roof. Not the asshole. She is 12. She has absolutely no business having any company without your knowledge, let alone having boys in her room when there's no adult home. How long is she grounded for, and will you be talking to the boy's parents? Not the asshole because she broke the rules. I would suggest after her grounding is over, allowing her to invite the boy over while you are there. Still no closed, locked doors or whatever you feel is appropriate, but that should take the sneaking him in away. Not the asshole. It wouldn't even matter if was another girl. She should not be having people over without permission, and defiantly should not be lying. And her insistence that nothing happened, is a suspiciously specific denial, as it seems you never asked. Yes, she needs to be grounded. But if stop here, you'd be in awe. You have more responsibility as a parent than merely discipline. You also need to teach her and look after her health. She also needs a talking to about safe sex. Clearly she is not too young for an education on the matter. If you put this off, you could have a teen pregnancy to deal with uncomfortably soon. Not the asshole. And her calling you're the most unfair father is one, not true. You're like the majority of caring fathers, and two, a burst of emotions that could be to manipulate you into feeling the way you currently do. Since she turned the story around when you said grounded, I am inclined to believe that